Hi folks, today's video is an inspection of the transmission on my motorbike here. It's a chain drive transmission. I was told it wouldn't be very reliable and that I should go with a belt drive transmission, but I went with the chain drive transmission anyway because it came with the engine, which is a Huasheng 142F 49cc 4-stroke. This is a very common pairing on DIY motorbikes. And unfortunately, the engine seized. So it's got 3,500 miles on it. So I'm going to take the engine apart, figure out what's wrong with it, and rebuild it, put it back on the road. Meanwhile, while the engine's down, I'm going to take apart the transmission here and look inside and see what kind of wear and tear we have, just to check on the reliability of this. It's been great. So let's go take a look and see what we find. It's got about 3,500 miles and about 250 hours of operation on it, and it's in pretty good shape. You know, the bell here where the clutch operates shows very little wear. Well, really almost nothing. It's quite clean. The sprocket, the drive sprocket here, it shows some wear, but it's not awful. A little bit of wear on there, a little bit of shiny spots, a little misshapen teeth here, but not at all bad. It could do twice what it's done so far and still be serviceable. So it's held up well. No real grease leaking out of here. What's inside here is a duplex chain. It looks kind of like almost like two bike chains put together. It's heavier than the bike chain. It's quite sturdy. And normally from the factory, it just had a little squirt of grease on the outside of the chain, which of course I put it on the bike, rode it around the block, and all the grease had flung off around the outside of the inside of the compartment in here. And so what I did is I cleaned out all the Chinese grease and stuffed it full of tacky red grease. And I stuffed it full. I figured rather than allowing the chain to fling the grease off into open spaces where it would just stay, I would stuff the thing so full of grease that the grease had no place to go. Any grease getting thrown off the chain would displace other grease back onto the chain. So I'm assuming that's why this thing has gone as far as it has. 3,500 trouble-free miles. I'm going to crack this thing open and see what's inside it. We'll clean out the old grease and see how much wear and tear is on the gears and chain inside this thing. And then if it's okay, I'm going to stuff it full of grease again and put it back on the bike. Well, the grease looks, well, it's interesting the way it took on that texture. Still seems pretty grease-like. It's all black. It's not red anymore. It's kind of interesting stuff. We'll clean that out and put in some new red grease. Yeah, let's take a look here. For some reason I was thinking this was heavier than bike chain. It's obviously not heavier than bike chain. It's far less heavier than bike chain. Well, here is the transmission all cleaned up. Nearly 3,500 miles, about 250 hours. And I'm rather surprised. It looks really good. Very little wear on the sprocket. If you can see the teeth, they look really pretty good. The bearings turn very smoothly. Over here, these teeth On this side, this is the clutch side. This is where the clutch goes. The clutch bell is very clean, very hardly any wear at all. Quite impressive. And yeah, the small end here, the clutch end, the teeth on that look fine too. Bearings nice and smooth. And the chain. It's a duplex chain. And it shows no wear. I don't see any signs of wear and tear. Looks quite good. After 3,500 miles or close to, I was expecting this to be pretty wore out, but so far it seems to be holding up rather good.
So here we are with the motorbike back on the road. Transmission went back together, as did the engine, and both are running fine. I'm very impressed and pleased with the performance of the transmission that I was told would not work very well. It's been working fine. I would have absolutely no hesitation to use another duplex chain transmission on another build in the future. And if anybody's interested, the engine had seized, and it was a seized big end, the piston, the large end of the piston rod that where it connects to the crankshaft is what seized. So it's fixed. Actually, I had to fix it a couple of times. Shortly after I rebuilt the engine, it did it again, exactly the same thing. And then I put on a piston rod and crank with roller bearings, little needle bearings. So we'll see how that holds up. That's a different story. Anyway, the bike's back on the road. Transmission, it has been fine and is doing well in spite of being told that it wouldn't hold up. It's holding up well. So this has been my first YouTube video and my first attempt at video filming and editing. I hope it's been useful for you and interesting at least. And thank you very much for watching.